assist with honors and CCP. So I want to start our talk today about your transcript. Okay, this is a very important document that you are going to send to colleges and possibly scholarship organizations. Okay. One of the most important things on your transcript is your GPA. And you have a weighted and an unweighted GPA. So if you take an honors class, it is worth a 4.5, and A is worth a 4.5. If you take an AP, IB, or CCP class, which we'll talk about what those are here in a second, those are worth a 5.8, okay? So if you've ever been to maybe a sports banquet and they're recognizing students that have good grades and they're saying GPAs, you may have heard of a student having over a 4.0, right, which is straight A's. Well, they get that by taking weighted classes, okay? Your class rank is determined by your weighted GPA. An unweighted GPA is just on a 4-point scale. And colleges are going to ask for that as well. So your transcript is basically a summary of your high school career. Okay? You have to keep in mind, before college meets you personally, they're going to look at your transcript, they're going to look at your application. So it's the first impression that they give. And so this is going to be really important. So your transcript includes all the classes that you took your 9th through 12th grade year. And so on your transcript, it's not just going to say U.S. history. If you took advanced placement U.S. history, that's what it's going to say. If you took honors government or honors English 10 or CCP composition 101, that's what it's going to say. So it's going to say the rigor of courses that you took, along with the grade that you received, okay? Your GPA starts your freshman year, and it will continue through your senior year. And some of you probably have realized it is easier to drop your GPA than to raise it, right? So you want to be aware of it. Also on your transcript are your end-of-course scores. So the end-of-course score that you receive for your ELA 10 exam, your 10 test, I should say, is on your transcript, okay? The other thing that's on your transcript is attendance, which includes not only absences, but tardies, okay? So you want to keep that in mind. This is what your transcript looks like, okay? And every time you apply to a college, this is a standard thing that they're going to ask to see is your transcript, okay? Anybody a junior in here? Okay. Hopefully you're not thinking, finally, next year I'm going to be a senior, so I think I'll do early release, I'll take a couple gym classes, maybe I'll be a TA, it's going to be the easiest year ever for me. Hopefully that's not what you're thinking. Because when a college is looking at you, they're looking at your transcript, they're looking at your senior year. You're competing against students that didn't take an easy senior year, okay? I'm not saying that you can't have fun your senior year. I'm not telling you not to take, photo your senior year because it sounds like a fun class. I'm saying make sure a couple of those classes your senior year are challenging. Continue to take math and English so that you're demonstrating that you are a serious student. And that you're going to put forth the effort throughout. Okay, the Academic Honors Diploma. So before we get started on this, in order to even qualify for the Academic Honors, you have to meet basic graduation requirements. You'll notice ELA is not listed in the requirements. That's because 4 years of ELA is a basic high school requirement, okay? So in addition to basic high school requirements, including the seals on your diplomas, all those sorts of things, you need 4 units of math. And when the state says credits, okay? You need 4 math credits. Algebra counts as a math credit, even if you took it your 8th grade year. It's a high school course. 4 units of science, 2 of which have to be advanced. 4 units of social studies. World languages, 3 units. How many of you are in a foreign language? Okay, please stick with it, okay? And this is why. First of all, you don't start speaking it until your 3rd year. You spend your first 2 years, it seems like, at least to me, conjugating verbs, all right? Then your 3rd year, you actually start speaking, okay? Most colleges require at least 2 years of a foreign language for admittance. Ms. Wiedmeyer was telling me some of the more competitive colleges are starting to ask for more than that. And let's say the college only requires 2 years, but then you're trying to get into the program, right, that you want to get your degree in. And the program is saying, well, wait a minute, 2 years isn't enough. You need 4 years. So now you've got to take more foreign language at the college level. And it's going to be quicker. The pace is going to be much quicker than what you have at the high school level. Okay? Being fluent in a foreign language will make you more marketable. It just will. And when you look around how society is changing, there's a lot of truth to that. So even if it's not your favorite class, I highly suggest that you keep with the foreign language, okay? For the honors diploma, you need 3 years, okay? ASL does count for the honors diploma. You need a fine arts credit. You need a GPA of a 3.5, and that's on an unweighted scale, so that's what a 4.0 means, it's unweighted, okay? You need an ACT score of 27 or an SAT of 1280 or higher. Now, in order to get the honors diploma, you need to meet 6 out of 7 of these requirements listed, in addition to the basic high school requirements. So if you're saying, I don't care what the old lady says, I'm not taking foreign language, well, then you need to get a 27 or higher on your ACT. Okay, you have to meet 6 out of the 7 requirements for the honors diploma. Okay. So the IB program. Princeton is the oldest IB school in the state of Ohio. Our program goes back to 1984. IB is an internationally recognized program for advanced students. What that means is when you take an IB assessment, you are competing with students from around the world. So why would you want an IB diploma? Okay? Well, if you think you might want to go to school outside of the United States, most foreign countries do not recognize an Ohio high school diploma. That's not a slight on Ohio, but for those of you taking government, you know education is a state right. So we have 50 different high school diplomas just in the United States. We don't have a national diploma. So if you get the IB diploma, it's based on international standards. They will accept that. If you don't have the IB diploma, you have to take an entrance exam. Okay? Another reason you might be interested in doing the IB diploma is there are some schools that offer scholarships for the IB diploma. We had a young lady that graduated from Princeton about 5 years ago. She recently graduated from Vassar, which is considered Ivy League. She was a IB full diploma recipient and received a full ride to Vassar, didn't pay a dime for her education. There are some schools that offer scholarships. There are some schools that are just more competitive to get in, that also the IB diploma is going to help you. We currently have a student at Columbia that was an IB diploma recipient. We've had about 10 go through Stanford. We have a couple at the University of Virginia now, which are very competitive schools. Okay, so if you're looking for scholarships or you're wanting to get into a very competitive school or program, the IB diploma may be right for you. So IB is project-based, and what that means is your IB score is not just based on a test that you take at the end of the course. It's based on a project that you submit in addition to the test, okay? IB Art, Film, and Theory of Knowledge, which is known as TOK, are completely project-based. There's no test for those courses. It is completely project-based. IB offers two types of classes. SL, which is standard level, which means that you can take the course over 1 year. And HL, which is higher level, which means you take the course over 2 years, okay? Oh, and IB courses are only open to juniors and seniors. Now, with that being said, in order to take IB physics, you have to take honors physics. And you can take honors physics as a sophomore and take IB physics as a junior, okay? So I just mentioned it's an internationally recognized diploma. If you're wanting to do the full diploma, you have to take 3 courses at the HL level, which is over 2 years. You have to take IB English because we only offer English at the HL level. You could take IB Biology, HL. We only offer it at the HL level. IB History, you could take it at the HL level or the SL level. IB Theory of Knowledge, you take your senior year. That's like a philosophy course. IB Foreign Language, you can take at the HL or SL level. We offer French and Spanish as IB languages. IB Math is called Analysis and Interpretations. It is stats-based. In order to qualify for IB Math, you have to successfully complete Honors Algebra 2. And you have to take an elective. And if you're a diploma candidate, you're probably going to have to take that at the SL level because of scheduling. We offer art, music, film, or physics. Now, IB Music, we haven't offered in a couple of years because we didn't get enough students to opt to run the course. We have a teacher that's trained for it, but we have to have enough students to run the course. So if you're a junior and you're interested in IB Music, you need to opt for it because the counselors need to know that there's an interest in the course. We typically have enough students to run art, music, and physics. In addition to taking 3 courses at the HL level, you also need to complete an extended essay, which is a project you do over your junior and senior year, and it's subject of your choice, and you work with the faculty member of your choice. And then you also complete CATs. If you are interested in doing the IB Diploma, before you leave, if you could put your name on the list up here, we're going to have a meeting that will go into more detail into that, and we'll make sure that we invite you, okay, if you sign up on the list here. So if you successfully complete the requirements for the Academic Honors Diploma and the IB Diploma, you will receive an International Baccalaureate Honors Diploma from the state of Ohio, in addition to your IB Diploma. You can take 1 IB course. You do not have to complete the full diploma. So if you just want to take IB Film, that's fine. Okay? AP stands for Advanced Placement. And like IB, there is a chance of receiving college credit depending upon how you do on your AP or IB assessment. AP courses are nationally based program. So when we get your scores for AP, we know how you did compared to other students in the state of Ohio and other students across the country. All AP courses are year-long courses. But with that being said, you don't walk into AP Calc, right? You take some math classes building up to AP Calc. So there are prerequisites. The course itself is 1 year. And you take your assessments in May of that year. AP Drawing and AP 2D Design are completely project-based. There is no test. Computer Science, there is a project, and then there is an assessment for AP Computer Science. For both AP and IB courses, you have to take the AccuPlacer exam. If you're wanting to take an AP or an IB science or math course, you need to take the quantitative reasoning test and get a 259 or higher on it, okay? For English and social studies, you need to take either reading or writing, a 253 in reading, a 257 in writing. Now, once you pass this test, you're good for the rest of your high school career. You only have to pass the quantitative reasoning test once, and then you can take multiple science and math courses at the AP or IB level in multiple years. Does that make sense? It's one and done in terms of taking the active placer if you pass it. If you don't pass it, you can retake it. It's the next year, right?
I'm sorry.
If they need to retake it, it's the next year?
Yes, so you're allowed to retake it twice technically, but you have to be within 10 points of the score.
Okay.
But that's the max that you can do. Right now, we are full on capacity of numbers for the active placer. So if you want to, if you haven't taken the active placer and you still want to take it, please send me an email. We do have a waiting list. I can't guarantee that we'll have one more testing date, but if we do, I can reach out to you.
Okay. And then in addition to the active placer, you need a teacher recommendation, because we all know ability will only get us so far, right? If there's not effort and drive behind that ability. So CCP courses. Anybody here taking CCP? Maybe? Okay, so a couple of you know what I'm talking about. College Credit Plus. These are college courses. Okay? These are for college credit. If you take a CCP course and you pass, you will receive college credit that is valid at any public college or university in the state of Ohio. So example, Miami, University of Cincinnati, Ohio State. Those are public schools. They will honor your CCP credit. Xavier is private. So that's up to Xavier, if they will honor it or if they won't honor it. University of Kentucky, out of the state of Ohio, right? It's up to the University of Kentucky if they want to accept it, okay? Now, honestly, they're looking at, you're going to have a college transcript when you take CCP classes. The better you do in the class, probably the better chance you have that they're going to accept it, okay?
I have a side note that I actually recently learned. I heard students who take CCP off campus with certain colleges, they weigh that actually higher than some AP or IB level courses, because it shows that you are ambitious because you're taking classes in addition outside of high school. So just something to think about, but that is something that very competitive colleges, or not so competitive colleges, are putting more weight in.
Okay, and then when we look at CCP, something that you need to keep in mind, okay? You are starting your college GPA. So on an AP or an IB test, the score follows you, not the grade, okay? So let's say you take AP Chemistry, and Mr. Douche, for some bizarre reason, gives you a C for the semester. But you managed to get a 5 on the AP Chemistry exam, which is awesome, okay? So UC is going to look at that and say, oh my gosh, they did really well on the AP Chem exam. I'm going to give them this much college credit. They don't care about the C. It doesn't go on your college transcript, okay? The credit does, but the grade doesn't. You don't start your college GPA. When you take a CCP course, the grade and the credit walk hand in hand. To get the credit, the grade goes, okay? Now, you can't say, well, I just won't tell them that I got a D in that CCP course. When you fill out an application for college, it's going to ask you, have you ever taken any college courses? And you have to say yes. So if you get an A in a CCP course, that's awesome, because you're starting your college GPA with an A, right? And that you also get the credit, okay? So on a CCP course, you really need to ask yourself, can I give this class 110%? And is this a subject I'm comfortable in? I would have never taken a CCP math class because math is not one of my stronger subjects. I teach history. You know, I might have taken a CCP social studies class, okay? So you want to be very careful about the CCP classes. If you don't have time for them, then it's probably not the best route for you, okay? And as Ms. Wiedmeyer said, taking CCP classes off campus, you can do CCP over the summer. You're not gonna get a Princeton person, but you could go to UC Blue Ash over the summer and take a CCP class, okay? They also offer them online, but a word of warning to online classes. You have to be self-motivated, okay? Because you know yourself, when you were doing remote learning, right? You got everything else at home going on, and you're supposed to be focusing on the class, okay? So online classes work for some people, but you need to have an honest conversation with yourself when you're talking about CCP classes, because there's a little bit more on the line, because it is your college GPA. CCP courses are an incredible opportunity if you do well, okay? So choose subjects that you're comfortable with, okay? So that you know that you're going to get an A or a B in that class. I teach CCP US History, and I've had to assign Ds to students. I don't like doing that, but that's what the grade was, okay? If you don't have the time, or if it's not a subject that you are strong in, I would probably advise you against it. But if it's a subject that you're good at, it's free credit, yes. You have to go to the CCP meeting. We have a CCP meeting February 3rd, 6 o'clock in Matthews Auditorium. There's an exit survey that you have to submit, okay? So you have to go to this meeting. The state of Ohio says every year, you have to go to the CCP meeting, and there's a form that you have to fill out as well that you have to submit. It's an intention form, and you have to submit that by April 1st. If you don't follow through with those 2 steps, you can't take CCP next year. That's Ohio's guidelines, okay? So these are dates that you can't miss, okay? And if you have any questions, you need to let your counselors know. But for CCP, you need to fulfill those requirements. You also have to take the AccuPlacer for CCP as well, and it's the same scores as AP and IB. These are just some of the things that we've offered at PHS. This changes based on different, what the college will allow us to offer and student demand, okay? All CCP, AP, and IB courses are 5.8, okay? If you take a CCP course at Princeton, it's a 5.8, okay? We have to offer the course at an advanced level for you to get a weighted credit for it. Not that anybody in here would do this, but you can't go to UC and take aerobics and think you're going to get a 5.8. Am I right in that? Yeah. So it has to be a class that we offer. So we offer a weighted algebra class. You take CCP algebra, you would get the weighted grade for that. Okay?
The best way to think about it is most cores are going to be, so any English, math, science, social studies, or foreign language is going to be weighted at a 5.0. Anything different, like say for example, basket weaving, that's going to be weighted at 4.0. Okay?
So just kind of keep that in mind. Are there any questions for me? Your transcript is very, very important. It basically is a snapshot of your entire high school career. So it's going to say how much you challenged yourself. So you want to make sure that you are challenging yourself. You also want to make sure you're not overwhelming yourself. Okay? Some students, their life will allow them to do the full IB diploma. Other students may be working. You may be playing sports. So maybe you can't take 6 IB courses or AP courses or CCP courses. Maybe you can only take 1 or 2. That's fine. Your transcript is still going to show you're challenging yourself. Okay? Other questions? Yes?
How do we find our transcript?
How do you find your transcript? You're going to ask your counselor.
You
And
can
they
just email your grade level counselor.
Yeah, and they can send that to you. Yes?
So let's say I took this CCP course
Mhm.
and I go to a college that accepts a credit, but I realize I want to take the same class because it's slightly different. But
they're not gonna prevent you from, a college is not gonna prevent you from taking a class, but every class I'm cheap, so I'm being very honest with you. Every class that you take in college is money, okay? So you don't wanna retake a class that you already have credit. And the only way that I would do that is if it was a math class and I'm not gonna do well in another class that I have to take unless I really know this subject, I wouldn't double up on credits, because that's just money and time. Because as you'll start learning when you start applying, college is expensive. So why do you want to rack up AP and IB credit or CCP credit? So that you don't have to take those things in college. Now, something about the CCP credit, okay? A public university or college has to accept the CCP credit. They don't have to necessarily give it to you in a certain subject. And what I mean by that is, let's say that you're going to Miami and you took CCP composition and you got a C in it. Miami's going to say, okay, here's your credit, it's elective. You still got to take English, okay? You're not guaranteed that you're going to get out of that class. Obviously, the better grade that you have, the better chance they're going to give you credit in the subject. But you're not guaranteed that. The rule says they have to give you the credit. So it could be elective credit, okay? And let's say you're going into pre-med and you take a chemistry course. Well, you're going to have to take more chemistry, okay? You're going to want to take more chemistry because it's going to help you to understand some other stuff, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. Some of that is left up to the college, what that credit looks like once they accept it.
Now, we've lined it up pretty well for you guys. So we use Cincinnati State, who is in agreement with UC. So all of the classes transfer to UC, and they should be a building block to the next classes, assuming you did well in those classes, okay? So a lot of it, and the reason why we did that is a lot of students from Princeton go to UC. So that's why we paired up, we partnered up with Cincinnati State, and we have some UC classes as well. However, if you go to a different campus or a different school outside of Ohio, they don't have to take those grades, okay, or those courses. But the other thing that we did is we specifically picked classes that are gen ed classes. So when you get in college, the term gen ed, general education classes for liberal arts schools is kind of a generic, you have to have a generic understanding of multiple things. So a lot of the classes that we offer here are base level classes that you would probably take as a freshman in college. So we're trying to help you get some of your things out of the way for your freshman and sophomore year, okay? So we strategically picked the classes that we offer here. But we just need you to understand every college can pretty much do whatever the heck they want to do because it's their institution. There's just some rules that they have to follow by state law.
Okay, so I know the belt, we're running out of time. On the back of the handout, very bottom of it is my contact information. So if you're trying to process all of this and you have questions about what do I need to take AP chemistry, okay? Just email me. You can call me. I'm going to get back to you quickly through email that I am through phone, but you can just call me. We're also having an advanced studies meeting February 3rd, 6 o'clock in the middle school library. It's at the same time as the CCP meeting. So go to the CCP